Hi everybody, welcome to the class tech room.
By the way, what's your name? Okay, Jack. Perfect. No fun. I just needed your name real quick. Efo's here, by the way.
And we're live. Welcome to Debate Fridays. Hi guys, I'm English Palette, or you can call me Jack, and this is an exciting historical moment because we are starting something new. We hope to hold every Friday, we hope to hold a student debate on an exciting and controversial topic. So today's topic, guys, you are in for a special treat. We will be discussing university/college tuition. Should tuition be free or should it be paid? Stick around because we are going to have some great time discussing this issue. And of course, I will also try to include you in that. So even if you, whether you just want to listen to the debate, whether you want to participate in the debate, this one is for you. And if you're joining us right now, we are live on Discord. If you're just, regardless of where you're watching us, if you're watching us on Twitch, that's great. We are live on Discord. I want to direct you there. So check the video description and you will find the Discord server link where we are live right now and you can join us. And if you are on Discord listening to me and you don't know that I'm live on Twitch right now, I would like to direct you to twitch.tv/EnglishSpot. The link is in my profile. So just click on my profile and you will see links to the channels where we are live right now. So open up a new tab and I hope that you'll be able to view us there. Today's debate is very exciting, as I mentioned. All right, let me bring up the relevant screens, guys, here. Okay. Excellent. Okay. All right, guys. So first of all, I want to welcome you to this debate, and this is I'm a little bit nervous, as you can see. I hope everything goes well, that you guys don't start fighting. Of course, I'm just half kidding there. Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the English Hub server, an amazing community of learners. We are slowly approaching 9,000 members here in the English Hub. And if you are not a part of the server, you definitely should be. So sign up right now. It's a place to make new friends, to discuss different issues with people from around the world. Of course, if you want to be a part of these lessons regularly, which are taking place 3 times a week, well, then also sign up to the English Hub. But that's the least reason of being there. The staff and the moderators, everyone there is so cordial. It's such a nice and wholesome place to be. And you know, these days on Discord, it's not necessarily that easy to find a healthy community like that. So check it out. The English Hub is waiting for you. And today's debate, guys, we are just going to get started in just a minute. I usually try to post all the questions, whether we have a regular discussion class. I post the questions to my website, and today's debate class, it's the same. I posted the details on my website, so if you want to if you don't want to miss any information, just head over to my website, which is buymeacoffee.com/English Palette. It's also available in the link description. Sorry, in the description of the video. Well, then there's a little button there called follow. If you click on that, you will always be notified of new posts / lesson announcements. Well, look at this, guys. We're just going to go through this and welcome our debaters. So, isn't that exciting? Excellent. Look at this. Wow. All right, guys, look at this. In a moment, we'll get started. In a moment, we'll get started, right? So we can see that for the topic of tuition, in the affirmative, for the yes side, yes, tuition should be free, are arguing Mohammed Reza and Alifa Lifa. So give them a big round of applause. Excellent. Let's welcome them.
Hello,
so
guys.
exciting, guys, to have you here.
Yeah.
And in the negative, arguing for the negative, no, tuition should be paid, should not be free, is Yokai and El Fishy. Let's welcome them as well.
Yeah, welcome to me.
Welcome to me. Yeah. And I'm your host, Jack. Okay, normally I teach you. Today I'll be moderating this, and of course I'll give you some feedback because that's my job as a teacher. Okay, very good. So what we're going to do is, first of all, I want to bring up this screen, which shows us the format of today's debate. First, we will have opening statement from the affirmative side. That will be 10 minutes. And I think that I've asked our debaters to prepare a 5-minute opening statement. That doesn't mean you have to take the entire 5 minutes, but up to 5 minutes. You have the floor to talk for your position. And then we will switch. And then there's going to be an opening statement for the negative in the same amount of time. 10 minutes, that means 2 times 5 minutes per speaker. Then in part 2, of course, of this debate, the speakers will have a chance to respond to the opening statement. So there will be a rebuttal phase. 10 minutes for the entire team, so the debaters can decide whether they want to take the entire 10 minutes, whether they want to speak together or separately, but they have 10 minutes allotted to that. Then, of course, the negative side is going to have a chance to respond. Then in part 3, the exciting part of our debate is going to be a free discussion on the question of tuition between the two parties. And then finally, we are going to take comments and questions from the audience. So if you have comments or questions, please type them out and just have them ready. Don't post them just yet because they will get lost. But when it's time for me to ask them, then I will ask you to paste them in the chat, either on the Twitch chat or in our classes chat here on Discord. I wonder, is that all clear, guys? Is everyone clear? Right? Okay, I'm just looking at the chat. Yes, okay, all right, very good. So, the topic of today's debate is tuition. Should it be free or not? If you're just curious about the perspective, historical perspective, universities started out as free. Well, not free. They were funded by the kings because nobody wanted to study those days and they just wanted to follow their parents' trade. So kings dished out some money to start these places of learning. However, nowadays we are facing a crisis, you could say, of climbing tuition fees, which prohibit certain individuals or poorer parts of society to get educated. Well, today we are going to debate this topic, so I would like to welcome our affirmative debaters. I believe the first one to speak is The first one to speak is right here, Mohammed Reza. Okay, so Mohammed Reza, you have 5 minutes for your opening statement. Are you ready, Mohammed?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, Mohammed, then in that case, let's go.
Okay, first of all, we are here from different nationalities and different countries, and because of that, we are facing a different kind of struggle about the cost of the college. For example, as far as I know, in the United States, you can study in the college, and after that, pay the price of the education as a debt. But in the Middle East, which is the place I'm come from, if you don't have a money, you should say goodbye to university. So I'm trying to focus on the fundamental point for the start. I should mention the bachelor degrees and the college education are the part of the education system, which is right for any and every human to have access to it, like the basic needs we have in the primal age and still have those, for example, food, clothing, and the shelter. In the 21st centuries, we have bold and certain needs which should pay attention to them to become an effective and valuable person to ourselves and our society. So I should mention that, as Schopenhauer says, if you become a specialist in any society, they will need you. And that's an obvious point, but also we should realize if someone doesn't have a college degrees, he or she most likely doesn't have a specific job. And that means whatever he or she does for the money, any ordinary person can do. And because of that, that person doesn't have a financial safety because at any minute can be replaced. In the modern world, when something which should provide by the government become pay to have, bad things happen. For example, I should say safety and healthcare. You can walk around with a gun to make yourself and your family safe, and in the meantime, have an effective job to help society and yourself to growing. You can cure yourself when you need a surgery. Also, in this case, you can teach yourself when you need a modern standard education. If he doesn't agree, okay, try to be a medical doctor by yourself. You realize that is impossible. But the question is, what if you can't afford it? Okay? Simply, in these examples, you get a gunshot or suffer from the healthcare problem till the end, or in this specific case, education, become an uneducated person who mostly a worker with a low income salary for the rest of his or her life, which is means sociologically robot. And that is bad. And now, for more example, imagine, guys, everybody, imagine yourself in the house with your family. Everything seems good, but suddenly you realize your neighborhood house is in the fire. So what should you do? Of course, calling the fire station. But if they don't have money to hire firefighters because the firefighting is not free and they can't afford it, the most possible action of all of us what? Just sit and watch a neighborhood lives burning. Okay, thanks God, that was not us. We are safe. But for how long? That's not a scene that anyone wants to watch. Because of that, we pay with our taxes and GDP for firefighters to make it free. If that wasn't free, I should ask, who's next? When our time's coming? Which one of us should burn to realize that? Maybe some people may say, become an educated person is my choice, my choice, my action, my responsibility. That's okay, but I haven't mentioned everyone experienced it up and down in the life. When you are in the down stage, your life downstage of your life, if bad things happen, it may destroy your life like a neighborhood house on the fire. I don't think anyone deserves that. Plus, if you come from the poor family and the poor neighborhood, most of your life you are on the downstage. Am I have a additional time?
No, you're just 3 seconds out, and your time is just up. Wow! Well, thank you so much, Mohammed, for that great opening. That was great. Excellent. Thank you. That was a very good opening. Thank you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's give the mic to Alifa. Alifa is going to make her opening statement. 5 minutes. Alifa, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, Alifa, go for it. Time start.
Alright, so I have two major points to this. Number one, all other forms of education before college is free. It is given to students for free, and nobody has ever had to pay for kindergarten, let's say elementary school or middle school, or even high school. Once they reach the 9th grade, there's no tuition for that. There's no fee or a fine for that. However, if someone is living in a college dorm for the next 4 years, or 2 years or 8 years, however long they stay in college, if someone is living in a dorm room, I believe that the tuition for that, the fine for that should be paid accordingly. But in my scenario, I'm probably not going to be living in a college dorm room. So for that kind of situation, I believe that there should be no tuition, because there was no tuition for elementary school, there was no tuition for middle school, there was no tuition for kindergarten, high school, whatever it is. No grade has ever charged students for learning in the classroom. So how is it that furthering the education in college should be paid for? And another point that I have, there are plenty of talented students out there, plenty of students that can really, really make a difference in the industry, that can really grow up successful, but they just don't have the financial means. So automatically, the families that are financially stable, they're the ones who are already put in a position of having their children be successful as well. But there are plenty of families that are lower class that do not have the financial stability to pay for this kind of thing. And there are plenty of students that simply don't have the time for 5 extra jobs as they battle going to school every day. And having to pay for that college tuition really should not be the thing that's holding them back from success, because there are plenty of ones that are talented students that just simply can't afford their college tuition. So again, as I said, if the student is paying for a dorm room, is paying to stay in college as a resident in their college, then yes, definitely should be paid for accordingly, a fine or tuition. But for a regular school, it's just like high school or elementary school or middle school. They're just going to their class, learning whatever they can, and go back home, which is not something that should be paid for, considering high school is the same way. And students don't pay to go to 11th grade or 9th grade. So, yeah, again, as I said, the families that are lower class are immediately given a lower advantage and are immediately placed at a lower chance of their children being successful, no matter how talented, no matter how capable that student is, if their family is lower class, they're not going to get much of a chance if they really just can't afford the college tuition. So, yeah, there's my two major points. The fact that all of the previous forms of education were not guaranteed a tuition, something that you had to pay for to go to class every day and then just return back home. No, none of that was paid for. None of that was something that you were charged for as a student. But suddenly, once you further your education with college, that's when they start charging you. And I think that's a really baseless system unless that student is living in that college, taking place at a residence or a dorm room in that college, then I believe it should be paid. But other than that, it's just basic school. Going to school for maybe 6 or 8 hours, then returning back home. That's how it is, and that's not something that should be paid for because, I mean, it hasn't been paid for in high school or in
Thank you.
elementary or middle school.
Thank you, Alifa. We just ran out of time. Wow, that's great. Excellent. Thank you. Let's give her a big round of applause here. Alifa, that was a very impressive opening. Okay. Excellent. Wow, guys, I don't know about the negative side now. You have a challenge here on your hands. So let's see who's speaking first. I think it's Yokai.
Yeah, can I speak first?
I think.
Sure.
Is that okay, Yokai? Yes, El Fishy is going to speak first. Okay, in that case, it's El Fishy. El Fishy, are you ready? Are you ready? You have your 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, time start.
Okay. In first place, I think like primary and secondary education should be public. That's not the same to be free because it's not being free. You at the end of the day, the state gonna pay for that in your taxes. Like you can have like a free education, free healthcare, but at the end of the day, if you are talented, like you say, you wanna rise a certain grade of income, and imagine for a second that the 50% of your income cuts out for something that you don't even use, like the university. And another thing that I think about is like you don't need university for the life. Like you need like primary and secondary because like teach you the basic things that you need to know. But I think a university is a privilege, should be a privilege because not everyone is equal. And honestly, like if you really wanna go through university, like in places like in USA, who I know a little bit about, you can get a student loan. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to pay it, but that's a life. It's hard. You can't, expect to get everything for free because it's you. And with another stuff, well, I think some part of the healthcare should be free because if you are like poor, if you can work, then like the state at the end of the day you're gonna be sure you can work, you can pay taxes, you can do anything. So I think some parts should be free, but I don't think the people who smoke every day uh, and do bad stuff with their body every day should get free healthcare because at the end of the day it's their decision to do that to their bodies. And one day they're gonna get like, cancer sickness. But coming back to the university stuff, look, I live I learn English like just for going through it. I don't think like university, like the people who don't go to university have like good like resources, like good like who they can still having like a good life. And look, how you gonna give like a kid who born poor the same opportunity that kid who born rich? Because let me give you an explanation. A kid born poor, and then he go up, he has a successful life, and then when he has a son, his son gonna have money for the university and do things he likes. And then you have family, a kid who born rich. He try get over his life, but he's not successful and he ended being poor, so he can't pay university to sit to his kid. I don't think the kid of the guy that made decision with his life should get like free stuff. just because he don't deserve it because their parents don't make the good decision. Like the life is hard, and it should be like that. Like you need to take care of what you do, and you can't just expect that everything gonna be free. And with the public scenario, like police, firefighters, well, that's a public stuff. Like everyone's needed because if you can just go and pay someone through like go through your house every day and be a peon. Say it like that. Sorry, my English is not perfect. But you can't, but because it's not, it's gonna be much money for you, and in the end of the day, maybe you're never gonna have a problem. But for police, it's different because everyone put their parts to one day have that help that they need from there. So yeah, basically, I say that uh, educate university is not necessary for being a successful person. You don't need it, and man, if you really need it, just go to get a loan. Don't gonna be easy to pay, but nothing's easy. Like I meet some people who have like one or two jobs in a welfare studying. I don't know their post college the thing they're studying, but I know like they're doing, and it's not impossible. And of course, you don't want to sleep more hours in the day, but at the end of the day, sacrifice that you do. For more later, have more money. I think that your kid don't need to do that stuff that you do when you're young. Well, I think that's the end of my point. Like, how much minutes I got left?
Oh, you have 20 seconds. Are you?
Well, I gonna give you an answer. Me, I live in Venezuela, one of the poorest countries in the world, and I learn English for myself. I don't do it for the school because it was very bad. And if I can do that, I think each person in a first world country can go and to get a job.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think that wraps up your point because we're out of time. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you, Elfishi, for this impressive opening. Thank you. And now we're going to give the mic to Yokai. Yokai, are you ready? Yokai, are you ready? You have your 5 minutes for your opening statement.
All right, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, time start.
All right, so hello and welcome everyone. My name is Yokai, and I'm here to speak to all of you about why college tuition should be monetized. Since the beginning of time, we as a species have strived to better our intellectual prowess. Through strength in intellect, we are truly able to become more than just a social species, but a species of man that can better the life of everyone. College in some places are free, and the United States ends up offering a lot of federal benefits and grants to students to help pay for their education. But the question here is, should be college monetized? As you can see, a lot of places, especially here, public schooling isn't the best. And here, I mean United States. I grew up in a town where the public schooling lacked a lot in a lot of areas. This is the performance of teachers and school systems where the teachers do not get paid well enough and oftentimes will give up on the students. However, when a school is monetized, such as a private school, the education is oftentimes better and more beneficial to the student. This rule also applies to colleges. When a college is monetized, the teachers receive better resources to efficiently teach their students, along with the college having the ability to hire more staff and embark on these academic studies that end up benefiting the education and nation's advancement towards certain goals. Have you ever been in a situation where the public school for which you were at failed to teach you even the simplest of concepts? Typically, when something is free or has a low budget, the product ends up not being as good. This also applies to the college concept as well. The government cannot sufficiently provide the resources and funding to make the public free schooling as great as it should be. This is why you can choose if you have the money to send your kid to a better education, which would be private schooling. That money that you are paying is to make a profit, yes, but also at the same time is the main funding grounds for that institution. This applies to colleges as well. A college that has a tuition cost that is higher will offer a much better learning experience. Not only are teachers more happy and dedicated to their job, but the institution itself has more funds and resources to provide for unique learning experiences that will stick with the student and offer a much higher retention rate than a college with lower funding. I went to a community college with low tuition for 2 years, and the education effort there was very low. Already after being at this much bigger school that I have transferred to, that has a much higher tuition, I can already feel a much better education potential along with a much better effort by the teacher. When you study at a college that is free or low budget, you also tend to miss some key concepts and you won't have the same access to resources that you may have at a highly monetized college. The more money and resources any kind of institution may have can produce better quality content for the students. An example, my college, we have multiple cybersecurity labs along with a lot of study abroad programs. My college is able to do these things due to the main fact of the increased amount of funding provided by the high cost of tuition and fees. And I'm pretty much done.
Are you done? You're forfeiting the rest of your time. You okay?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Well, that was an impressive opening as well. Thank you so much. You okay? All right.
Thanks.
Wow, this was excellent. Wow, so if you're joining us right now, we are live on twitch.tv/EnglishSpot, where we are interacting with our debaters. Well, this is officially, we are entering our second part of our debate. Now, each party will have a chance to respond. So we have a rebuttal stage. You have 10 minutes. And now 10 minutes, this is up to Mohammed and Alifa. Would you guys like to speak for 5 minutes again? Or do you want to just talk together for 10 minutes freely, responding to the points of your opposition? Could you let me know?
Let's just respond freely for 10 minutes.
Okay, all right, very good. So let me get the 10-minute timer. And you guys can start. Okay, you have 10 minutes. This is your rebuttal.
Afifa, when you start first?
All right. If you want me to start, then okay, sure. So, yeah, I agree that if tuition is paid, then oftentimes the system in education will become a lot better. Well, it'll simply succeed in its job a lot better because there are actually the resources for learning provided by the government with that tuition money. So, yeah, I agree that the experience will be better. The rates of success with that college will be better if the tuition is guaranteed to be paid. However, the money that does not come from students should be invested in trying to create a better system. So let's say in college, if the system just depends on the tuition money that students are giving, then it won't really achieve anything well for the students because, well, they're supposed to be there for an education like they were for in high school, in middle school, elementary school. I don't think that demanding a fee to be paid will be the best option for those students if they cannot afford it and if the college tuition for their school is higher up, if it's more advanced of a college, like maybe Harvard or something, then I believe that the tuition for students who are able to go there because of the academics, but not because of the finances, I believe that it should be more available to the lower class students who don't necessarily have the means to pay for that Harvard experience, but also should be able to further their education due to how much they've already gone by without paying. They've already gone by kindergarten and elementary school, middle school, high school, up until that 12th grade. And once they get into college, it should also be a furthering of education without any burdens for the people who want to participate in a classroom and to further their education with no problems, with no burdens, whether that be a financial burden or anything else. It should be available for furthering the education, and obviously I believe that the system should be investing their money into the college as much as they can, into the education system as much as they can. I just don't believe that it should be done with the students' money, the students' tuition that is paid, because they're the ones learning there. They're the ones getting the most benefits from learning and from furthering their education.
Okay. You still have 6 minutes. Would you like to join Alifa, Mohammed?
Yes, of course. First of all, about the discussion, I should, mention the key points in the Elfishi and Yokai speech. It's about everyone not equal, and this is a fact. Of course, we have a different kind of, we have a different kind of a species in the war. And the second was the concept, like a police. We need. Elfishi said we need a police, and it's necessary, but we don't need education as necessary as a police is. But I want to correct them. We should, in the society, we should raise the level of inequality. For example, 100 years ago, we don't have water to eat, food to eat, for water to drink, or food to eat, or we don't have even a shelter in some part of the place. Now everyone have. In that stage, someone said, okay, the shelter is just for the people who pay for it. Everyone shouldn't have that. Shelter is not a necessary things, but the time and the society is changing. For the next 10 years, I can see this. The college education is one of the most important things in the society, but we don't realize it. We don't realize it now. When we realize it, I guess it's been too late. For continuing, I should say. Education is a fundamental assumption of the social acceptance. And by making pay to have with this kind of enormous cost, we simply deprive most part of the population of their rights. I'm not a genuine fan of everything should be free, but in the modern society, the primary basis of the civilization, like safety, healthcare, and education, should be available to everyone. And in this amount of time, the college education is the most important part of the education. I know statistically and mathematically it's impossible. It's also doesn't fit with the economic data. It's true, but also that is true. Therefore, decades, entire world thinks a giant amount of metal can't fly because it wasn't fit with the knowledge of the time. And that's all.
Thank you so much.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all for the rebuttal. Would you like to speak more, Alifa? You have 2 minutes, or are we You think you had enough time?
Yeah, so about the education being most important, yeah, I agree with that because obviously the successful people of today, all of the doctors, all of the scientists, all of the people who contribute to society the most, and you know that doctors contribute to our health, scientists contribute to furthering the knowledge of society as a whole. And obviously, those two jobs are very, very important, not only for the people, but for the potential as a society as a whole. So, obviously, those doctors, those scientists must have came from somewhere. And you know what? It's not always the wealthiest family that they come from. What if a student that is in the lower class has the potential to become a doctor or a scientist, someone very important, someone that is successful in the future, but they simply don't have what it takes to pay for the tuition of that in college. There are plenty of lower class students who do have the capability to become someone successful, someone like a doctor or a scientist. Those two examples I'm bringing up because I believe that those two are some of the most important jobs we have in society. So they can further the potential of mankind, further the potential of our society as a whole, but they don't always have to come from the richest of families. What if a lower class student was able to go to Harvard? That would be ideal. That would be ideal for that student to pursue their potential without being given a burden of financial instability. So yeah, I agree that education is important and it's brought some of the most important people we have in modern day society. As I said, doctors, scientists, they obviously came from somewhere and they will continue to come from somewhere if college is made accessible for the majority of people in society.
All right, Alifa, thank you so much, both of you, Alifa and Mohammed Reza. That was amazing. Good rebuttal. And now we are going to give the mic over to the other side. So that's El Fishy and Yokai. Would you like to guys speak for 10 minutes, taking turns, addressing their points?
Fishy, can I go first?
Yeah,
Okay.
I go
Alright.
second.
So just watch the screen, and you can just alternate whatever. You have 10 minutes for both of you. All right. All the best, guys. All the best.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, to begin,
Mm-hmm.
so the point of is college needed, necessary? So, just to talk about like what my situation is, yes, I'm in college, but at the same time, everything that I've learned has been self-taught. Like, college is not there to teach you everything. College is only to guide you. So it's not even needed. And the point of like only great people come from college, that's not true either. Like, for example, Elon Musk, he dropped out of college. He did not finish college. And that's just one example. Or how about the people that did great things before college even existed? Like, it's just, college is kind of like this mainstream idea. If you get into college, you're set. And that's not the case. And also, you don't even need college either because of the fact that there's a lot of other jobs you can do as well that don't even need college. You can go and get trained for a certain thing, do the certain thing as, the police officer and that. But, those are a bit lower. There's bigger jobs out there like welding and stuff. That doesn't need college. That's just pure training. So, the reason that college is monetized is because it is it is what we call higher learning. It is the extra step, but it is only for certain things. Um, I'm speaking from United States, so I know like we have a lot of federal grants and scholarships and stuff that do our government does invest into the college. So maybe worldwide, everyone needs to start investing a bit more, but at the same time, college is not needed. Students, there's people that have done amazing things without having a college degree or having even went to college. So, um, yeah, in some societies, I feel like college is given this huge need. Parents push it, and they force kids into college and everything. But it's not needed. You can do great things even without it. Because most of the time, especially if you're talking about computers, everything is self-taught. College is only there to guide you. They can't. It's the student's job, not the teacher's job. The student is the one learning. So, if the student is focusing on just learning what the college gives them, they're not going to really be that successful, anyways. But the reason why things are monetized, especially college, is because there needs to be a basis of funding. And with the whole Yale and Harvard thing, those colleges are difficult to get in for the reason that they it's they're called Ivy League schools for a reason. It's I don't know how to explain this. It's like even if you don't have the money to get into it, if you study hard enough, if you have enough dedication, you can get the scholarship to get into the school. You can get the test grades. You have to be dedicated. And we're starting to get into a situation here where everyone wants to be lazy and just get free things. And we can't really get to that point because then we end up not being as productive as we have always been, as like just the species of humans in general. And so I don't know. I I feel like we're talking about a lot of points here, but at the same time, man, my mind has drawn a blank.
No, that's
Do
okay.
you want me to go?
Yes, because
Yeah,
El
sure.
Fishy has things to say too.
Yeah. With the inequality point, I think, well, no one is equal. I think it's good that we are like less poor than 100 years ago because of the advance of technology and the fact that you need, yeah, it's more easy to transport things, so it costs less and every day costs less, and you can get better stuff. But the thing is, like, if you can like have a good career, I think you don't deserve a good career. Like you know what I mean? Like some students in like public schools are all today just doing nothing. Like you can look for, well, at least in my country, they are just all today just don't doing like almost anything, and and they got a lot of like government resources as well before they don't get anything. But the thing is that the fact they're trying to make that inequality is natural. You're always gonna find someone who is better than you, who is smarter than you, who is higher than you, who is handsome than you, and you're always gonna find someone who is not. Like every human is equal. No, some people is smarter, some people is dumber. That don't mean I am the smartest person in the world. That means that someone is smarter than me and dumber than me. And it's the same as like you can just give all their education and expect that they all get like a high quality professional and they are get the more smart that they can be because that's in the person. For example, you can see like doctors who are better than worse and the ones who are better to charge you more because they know how to do the things, not because they learn something in the school that and other people don't. It's because they are like that. They like their job and they are like very careful with what they do. And you see another people who are not. So I think, and at the point that Mohammed do say like you need college, yeah, I say you need like yeah, I don't know who you call it in another country for like primary and secondary education. I think like should be public, and the thing that university should be public because it's a lot of cost. Like if you can just go and find like a salary of a primary, secondary, and university professional, like a teacher, I'm gonna be different. The university teacher gonna have more because it costs more. I mean, because I think you're gonna have like if you want to then implement in your country, well, you need to be ready for one day pay the 50% tax, like I said before, like the 50% of what you get. So I don't think anyone here wants that. All their money gone. And I think if you really really want to study and you are the really the one person that really want to do it and want to get higher, well, you can sacrifice yourself and work for it. If you don't want to work for it, then I think you don't deserve it. But that's the end of my.
Well, everyone, I don't know. There's 2 minutes left, but it's up to you. Would you like to take the rest of your time, or shall we move on to the free exchange between the two groups? Shall we move on?
I'd like to make a counter.
Okay, all right. In that case, well, thank you so much. Let's acknowledge their amazing rebuttal. Thank you. A big round of applause. And now. Wow! This debate is turning out much better than I expected, guys. I really want to thank you for your dedication. And if you're just joining us right now, we are live on twitch.tv/EnglishSpot, where you can follow us as well. And of course, we are live on this English Hub Discord server, where English classes are held regularly, so please make sure you join before you leave if you're just visiting right now. And now let's move on to part 3 of our debate, where the two parties freely talk and try to address each other's points. I will probably just watch the time. If I notice that it's dragging on or there's no new ideas, then I will probably suggest cutting you off. However, for now, the floor is yours, guys.
All right. So I would like to make a counter to the argument that college is not needed. Well, I acknowledge that it's not needed, but for certain professions, like if you're going into the medical field, then a degree is a necessity. You cannot go in any place of the medical field without a solid degree. And the reason for that is because you obviously need practice in medical school, college, whatever that is. You obviously need the practice in order to become a professional in the medical field. It's obviously a very risky job. If you think of the surgeons and the doctors that work there, I mean, they're dealing with people's lives and people's health. So obviously, a degree is an absolute necessity for going into any of those fields in the medical world. So, yeah, if a student is interested in a scientific or a medical field, then obviously their degree is going to be an absolute necessity.
Also, with that, speaking about that as well, is if that person is going for a scientific or medical degree as well, they need to be prepared to know how hard it is to get into that. Like, as far as like how to work for the scholarships that are given by the college and other things like that.
Yeah, but having the finances for it already does not equate to working hard for it. I don't think that the lower class are necessarily just wanting everything for free. No, that's not what they want. They want better opportunities, even being in the place that they are. So that does not equate to laziness or just wanting everything for free. That is not what they're asking for, and that is definitely not the argument here.
Okay, I can say something. I say like you don't need it for the life because you don't need to be a doctor to be a scientist in the life. Like you can be something
Yes, but
else. You
certain
you can go
people
to
are
technical
interested
school.
in that. Certain
Well,
people are interested.
look, I'm interested on being a Lamborghini, but I don't got the money. That doesn't mean I need to tell the government to give it to me just because I want it. So
No,
sometimes we
those
need
two
to see
things
the
are
capacity.
very different. Pursuing the potential to become a doctor, pursuing that potential to become a medical professional and help people when you have the capability to help other people and their health. If you have the capability and the knowledge, but you simply don't have the resources, the financial resources to pay for what it takes to pursue it in medical school, then it should obviously focus on what that student knows, their knowledge, their capability to become a medical professional, and their pursuing of their potential to become one in the future, not their financial status, but the capability that they have to become a medical professional. Buying a
That's why there's
Lamborghini is very
scholarships
different
and
from.
federal grants and hospitals that help students with getting to where they need to be. That's why those things exist already.
I mean,
So that people,
student loans.
if they can show that their potential, they will get scholarships to the college.
And like, if you have that potential and you are really secure about yourself, why you just don't ask a student loan them? You know, just go and pay it after. Like, if you are really that secure of yourself.
Hold on, what was it?
Hello?
There's already like financial help for students like that anyways. There's federal grants, there's scholarships, there's hospitals that offer scholarships. You know, going to college, it's a part of the student's job basically to find these scholarships and these grants to help them financially pay for it.
Yes, the scholarship was good, but I want to talk about two things I heard. One of them was laziness. If everyone access to everything they want, they become lazy. And another point was I guess you said people are different, and the college is not a stairway to success. You can success without going to college. That's obvious things. I don't want to discuss about it, but uh, I am. I should say we are deprive the people who wants to go there because of the cost. We shouldn't do that because we need those people who want to go to college, who want to become a specialist and scientist um, for the future success. If you pay attention to the most successful country in the world and most peaceful one in the world, the country who changed the history in the period of time, they are the most educated they have the most educated population. For example, Germany and France and United States in the decades ago, and now China. You know, this is
And
okay.
certain Scandinavian countries too.
A Scandinavian country, yes, 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 like Denmark and Norway, yes, and this is this is a fact. You shouldn't
Yeah.
abandon some people from this population because they don't have money which they need to uh, become a become assertive or effective person in the society. We should, as I said before, we should raise the level of inequality. For example, in the 100 years ago, we don't have anything as we have it like have it now. But in these days, we look like have everything. We have food, we have water, we have shelter, we have safety, we have everything, and we should go on. This is how world works. We don't call it laziness. For about 30 years ago, if I want to, talk to my grandfather who is in the US, I should use a specific kind of cell phone, which nowadays doesn't exist. But in this day, I can text him, and this is not the laziness. This is the progress. This is the
The,
good
the
things of.
laziness thing that I stated, it was saying that if we make it super easy for anyone to get into college and there is no anything to fight towards, then that's when people become lazy.
Hold on.
That's what I meant.
I just
I got a thing to say about like Scandinavian countries. Like you say, they don't promote laziness when that country takes a lot of like welfare data because their taxes are so high that the people are living like for the benefits of the state without like working. And I know it's not something to do with a school, but the thing is that if you give people free stuff all the time they want, they're gonna become lazy because look, it's a person. Like if you say has the potential to become a doctor and he really, really wanna do it, well, I think that person should give everything of himself for them, including go and take a student loan or a normal loan for pay for that. Because at the end of the day, the life is hard, and you're gonna and I really don't think we should fight a lot for equality because we're becoming equality with the time.
all
There's a
right.
balance to everything. Yes, things need to be easier. Yes, things are very way too impossible sometimes, but you can't go 100% in one direction.
All right, I'm going to make it clear that not having the finances for a tuition does not equate to laziness. It does
It's
not
not what we were
equate to.
stating at all.
Yeah,
We were
but
not
you
talking
said
about that at all.
if everything is guaranteed for free, which is not what I'm saying either, but you told me that if everything is guaranteed for free, then it's going to become a laziness thing in our society, which I mean I'm not sure where that came from, but not being able to afford the tuition of a university, it's not being equated to laziness. I'm just going to make that clear.
So why you don't go to get a job and or it's on a loan and just get it like because you're lazy because you don't wanna where you wanna work. Some people are very poor, and I know they can't just go and go through university because look,
Okay,
that's it. Like they don't,
what about the
yeah.
students that already have the financial means to make that happen? If they already have the finances to pay for their tuition, then what about them? Would you also equate that to being lazy?
Well,
In some
they,
cases, that does
they
create a lazy person as well. What I was just trying to say is if it is super easy for the student for anything, then they become lazy. That's what I meant. I
I
tried
can
to
say,
put
Yeah,
that
so
there
the
so that we don't
students.
fall into a thing where
can
we
I
go
say something
100%
about
one
that?
direction.
So what
If
you're
I
saying
say
is that if the students already have the financial means to pay for that and they don't have to work for that, then that makes them also lazy as well.
they could be lazy, depends on the person, but they think that the fact is they deserve it to be there because their parents work for that and their parents have the money for that. I suppose like their parents are the ones who pay it. So it's the kid. If the kid don't like grow up good in the university and he ain't being like lazy and wasting off the money, well, that's gonna be the foul of their parents and gonna hurt their parents. Not gonna hurt anyone else who decide to make this decision. But if a normal person go and do the same in a public school, it's gonna hurt anyone who paid the taxes for that person to go there. And I don't wanna pay tax. I don't wanna pay taxes to something that benefits one person that it's not me.
Well, it's just the fact that furthering your education is the farthest thing from laziness. It's the polar opposite of laziness. Furthering your education with university is the furthest from being lazy. It's almost the polar opposite of that. Trying to pursue your education.
So you
It's-
never, so you never
There's also
meet
the culture
someone,
of parents forcing kids to go to college for no reason as well.
and you never meet someone who was bad at studying in your university. If you go one, like you never meet someone who was like really
Wait,
bad at.
Well,
parents forcing their
I just
students
say
to
that
go
the
to.
fact that you go to university
Wait,
or
hold
you
on.
are in the university don't mean that
What was
you are.
that point about students being forced
There's
to attend college?
in a lot of places and a lot of families, the parents will force the kid into college.
that is,
Yes.
the different kind of problem. We don't discuss about the laziness or forcing people to get what they don't want. Actually, this is not a debate about. I think the free education is a right for the every and any human in the modern society. We are fighting for our right, as a clean water. Clean water is my
Yeah.
right. I should have that. And whether I want it or don't want, this is my personal, decision. This is not something we should argue about it. This is my personal decision. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want to go to college. That's fine, but they shouldn't, forbidden the going to the college for me because I don't have the financial support. This is what about.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
I don't know why we
you-
focused on
Okay.
laziness for so long. I just try to put it in there as like, it was just trying to show that we can't go 100% in one direction. There has to be a balance.
Well, I agree with that. 100% free is not a case. You shouldn't be like that. But we should, have a lower cost that everyone in the society can, access to the free tuition.
That's true. That's
All
true.
right,
as well. I
guys.
don't
All
think
right,
college
guys.
tuition
Well,
should be
maybe we should
$40,000.
slowly wrap up this section because I think there are some points that just get repeated over and over again. But I have a bunch of interesting questions here, and I want to also open the floor to some of the people listening in the room. If that's okay, guys, shall we move on to our fourth stage of the discussion, where the audience is making comments and is asking questions to both of you, to all four of you, okay? To all four of you. So let's just start. First of all, I have on my list of speakers, we have Laure. Laure, can you raise your hand? I think I need to unmute you. And I think you wanted to say something. All right, Laure. So here is your chance to either make a question or comment.
Okay, so I kind of just wanted to bring into a comment the fact that the idea of kind of free education is mostly based on the fact that while the cost of living is going up, minimum wage has been going up as well with them. So a lot of people go into college education expecting to get a degree to get money to actually like survive and make a living, rather than getting into a minimum wage job that they know that it's going to be very hard to live off of.
Okay, thank you. So it was more of a comment. You don't have a question for them, do you?
No, not really. I just wanted to kind of make that comment because
Okay.
I feel like it wasn't discussed.
Thank you so much. Well, that's a very nice comment. Yes, I'm sure it adds to the debate. Now we're going to go to Marshall. Marshall has posted a comment, and I think Marshall would like me to read it. So this is to you guys, to both parties, I believe, or to Lifa. What Lifa said, Marshall is saying, she said that to be a doctor, you need the degree, and some people can't pay for it. But I feel like people need to pay for that certain education because you are paying for doing something that only a few people can do in a society. So you are essentially paying for the skills to do it. If people pay for that, it means that they are committed to doing it. But if it becomes free, then it's saying that everyone can become a doctor. That downgrades the importance of doctors and other jobs that require a special degree. Yeah,
I don't think that making
Yes.
it free. I don't think that making it free will bring on the message that anybody can become a doctor, because there are certainly ways to show your devotion to that kind of field without having to dish out your financial means. Some of the students that come from maybe lower class families, some of them cannot afford it, even though they have the knowledge for it, even though they have the potential that they can pursue in a medical field. And yeah, the degree is obviously a necessity for that. So some of the most important people in society, the doctors, the medical professionals, people that guarantee and assure other people that their health will be a priority. Those are the ones that should be given most potential to succeed, because the people in those fields are very important.
Can I say something about that?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. You should respond. Yes, please do.
Okay. Look. A lot of people who live in the poor class know how to drive. That doesn't mean they deserve a car because they can afford it. The same with as the education. Some things in the life are a privilege, should be a privilege, because for be a doctor, for example, you need to sacrifice a lot of hours of your life learning all, because it's not the same as be a McDonald's worker. You need to put a lot in. And if you can make the sacrifice of paying for the education that you're adhering, in some or not majority of the cases, it's gonna make you like that you don't really serve it. You just get in because yes, because no one's some random pay for that with their taxes. But look, if so what?
Thank you.
Like your parents pay for it, your parents are to making the sacrifice for you, and they are designed to make it. When it comes pay with taxes, the person who is paying the taxes that you're getting, it's don't decide like X person should get university because I want to. Well, not the majors.
All
So
right.
I think it's
Thank you,
about like
official.
deserving, and it's about that sacrifice.
Okay, I think both sides had a chance to respond. I need to move on to the next question. I think this time it's from Sapphire. Sapphire, do you want to make a comment or ask a question? You need to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Okay. So it's like a comment sort of question.
Sure.
So I'd like to start by asking, gentlemen, a scientist, an inventor, your teacher, these all people have something in common, right? What is it? They all have education. So, education is a merit good, and merit goods are goods that are neglected by people because they not fully appreciate how good they are to the society, and they're underproduced. So what your argument is, you're going to leave it to market forces and you're going to get more funding. So what? They're going to get underproduced and they're going to get underconsumed because people do not fully appreciate how valuable they are. This is what we call information failure. I remember someone here telling that education is unnecessary and you can go well without education. Yes, that is true. But what about the increased career prospects? And what about, okay, that's your personal opinion. So we have to agree that we are entering a field of value judgment or normative statement. And that is in no way related to any empirical or positive reference. So it's just your feeling. So we have to stop it there. So you go to Africa, you go to Southeast Asia or anywhere, and you ask a poor kid who is very intelligent, but he doesn't have the money to study elsewhere. Hey, so he replies, "Oh, it's just my finances that are stopping me from going to NASA or working somewhere else or getting my higher education somewhere. And I can change the society, and I can change the society for better. But I don't have the money and finances to do so. So we need to ask ourselves a simple question: should your financial standing define where you're going to stand at the end? And should education and these merit goods not be underprovided, and this the budget you could have provided for the education would otherwise go to SpaceX, and you're going to do futile experiments in Mars, where you're going to kind of conduct some experiments on iron oxide, and it's not even related to what's happening here. You could have changed 10 lives, but instead you chose to send a banana to the space, or an apple, for $10,000. So isn't that too extravagant? So we need to ask ourselves this very question. And for the side which supports the education for everyone, I need to ask you this question. So when you support education for everyone, when you support free education, you need to also accept the fact that you're supporting what is known as paternalism in economics. So it is basically when you assume that society knows the best and everything should be done for the society. And there's also a moral hazard that, so you know that your education is going to be fully funded, and you know that you don't need to get, very good grades to get into Ivy Leagues and stuff, because everything is fully funded by the government. So you might not study, and there's this lack of competitive pressure from the universities, and there's this lack of finance because government is not able to finance everything. And there's this also with the cause of opportunity cost. You could have produced 100 million vaccines. You could have researched on the cure for malaria, dengue. So there's this question we need to ask ourselves, and that is, how are we going to solve the problem of moral hazard? Because after I reached the age of 40, I would still want to go to university for fun, just for 1 hour to study economics. But that really it's not going to contribute anything to the society. And how much more is going to increase the tax burden on the people? Because the tax base, if we see in the US and in developing countries like India, it's very low. It's because the tax evasion is very high. So it's really not feasible to provide education freely for everyone. And when you take out the market forces, the competitive pressure from any type of system, what you're going to face is a lack of innovation. So your education is not going to improve, it's going to slog. So I want you guys to deeply think about these two problems and try to answer this question yourself, and then provide you the
Thank you so much, Sapphire. I wonder if any of our debaters would like to respond to your comments.
I want to say something very important.
I want to say something for 5 seconds only.
Okay, sure.
So if that's possible.
Of course, yes.
Okay.
You can respond to these comments.
Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Any form of potential there is to better society should be pursued. If it's a potential to get into a medical field, or if it's a potential to become a medical professional, those are two examples, then yes, that should be pursued no matter how low class the student is.
Thank you. And El Fishy, you wanted to make a comment as well?
Yeah, it's something important to say that Africa, I was talking about first world countries because they don't have that problems that Africa has. And we need to speak realistically. What's going to happen if we put like free education to Africa? The African people going to have to pay that taxes for pay that education. And if you have a poor country, you're gonna have like a bad education because you don't got the resources of the people. And imagine someone from an African place of pay like, well, I think the majority of them really don't pay taxes because they do like informal job or etc. But imagine like someone to pay 40, poor people in Africa pay 40% of their taxes for put someone who they don't even know in a college. And you know what let's see that happen. And you know what the person that studies there gonna do? He's gonna say, well, I'm a doctor and I'm getting like $100 a month here. But I can go right away to Europe or another country with the education I have and get like $3,000, $4,000, or $6,000 a month. So they're gonna leave the country and they gonna don't contribute anything and they're gonna give back the money that they pay. Because in the fact that they expense like $100,000 in this is just an example. If you expense $100,000 of the state in education and you leave and you don't pay taxes, that means that the $100,000 are lost. That they don't recover anything for what you take. So I think everyone who takes free education should try to give back something that they get. So we need to speak realistically. Put free education in Africa is gonna make the situation difficult because the people who wanna get it gonna just flip to the country and don't give back the system what they got.
Thank you so much, Elfish. I don't mean to cut you off, but we need to move on. There's other people waiting to speak or read or make a comment or ask you questions. Konda, you're next. So, Konda, you need to unmute yourself. Yes.
Right.
What was your comment or question? Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. All right, so you guys made amazing points, right? But I'd like to take a few minutes to make a few points, and I guess my first point would be on realizing why university is so expensive in the first place, right? And if you go into the specifics, you'd start realizing that the reason it is so expensive in the first place is because of government intervention, right? So what ended up happening was during the 90s, what they did was they started to they passed a bill for government guaranteed debts or loans for that matter, right? And what that ended up doing is that it started to create an artificial demand, and you also can't file bankruptcy on a government guaranteed loan. So what the universities ended up doing was they had no incentive to cut down on the cost, right? So they just started increasing the price by 10% every year, and this has been going on for decades now. And that is fundamentally the reason why it is so expensive. And something I'd like to also point out is that when you say you're making it free, you aren't exactly making it free, right? You have to pay for it. I mean, the taxpayers have to pay for it, right? So you could make the argument that Alifa made, which was, high school is being paid by the community, so couldn't you also pay university? It doesn't work like that because high school is designed to serve the community, right? Paid by the community. High school is designed to have more of a civil people, and that can make informed decisions on voting or going on trade jobs, right? Trade jobs benefit the community the most, and most high school graduates tend to go into trade jobs if they aren't going to go into college or university for that matter. And you have to realize university and college is more designed to serve the individual, right? To go into specific courses and so forth and so on. So the taxpayer shouldn't be forced or mandated to pay for their education for that matter. What else is there? Hold on.
Yes, we're listening.
Something also that is important is that by making, even if we did make universities free, right, that's not going to cut down on the cost, because universities right now itself, we're having trillions of dollars being spent by students in debt itself, right? So if we make it free, the people will be forced to pay even more tax, and the federal government and the state government will have to pay it out. And right now itself, I think we are paying $3 trillion out of our pockets and more than we earn. So if we do make college or university free for that matter, what that will do is it's going to inflate the prices even more. Universities are going to increase their prices even more, and eventually the system's going to fall, eventually at least. And what it's at the end of the day, the only outcome is going to be the dollar is going to start losing its value, right? It's like every government policy leads to the next. If you make universities free, that's going to raise the taxes. If you raise the taxes, you raise the minimum wage, and then it's going to raise the rent. So it raises the rent, then you're going to have to build affordable housing. When you build affordable housing, you have to tax the people to build the affordable housing. When you tax the people to build the affordable housing, people move out of the city, and then you have to raise taxes on the people that still remain in the city. And this is how you hollow out an economy of a major metropolitan area, right? I guess that's my point.
Thank you so much. Would the panelists like to respond to some of his points? Anyone? If not, we'll just move on to the next point, next person, and that's Trovail. Trovail, you need to unmute yourself, or actually I'll unmute you. Let's go. Trovail, you had a question or a comment, and now it's your turn. Trovel, are you there? Trovel.
I think he don't join.
Okay, if Trovel
Yeah.
does not respond, then we'll move on to Kim Jong. Kim Jong?
I got
Oh,
it.
Trovel is here. Okay. She was away from the mic, I guess. All right, Trovel, it's your chance to ask a question or make a comment.
I came across an article and there was a statement. I quote, a free college option should benefit those of a lower income, but the premise of free college has the power to be abused by those who can afford higher education. Hard-earned taxpayers or dollars should not be going to support the tuitions of rich kids. So the question is, do you think free education should not be implied for unis because wealthy are going to get additional privileges?
It's a question for both sides, or yes side or no
Yeah,
side?
anyone.
Anyone, okay.
Anyone.
Yes.
Could you repeat the question? Sorry, or like a part?
Yes, can you just kind of rephrase your question in a simpler manner?
Yeah. So when we provide free education, both wealthy and poor are going to get the same privilege. So they are. So the question was, they are more likely to. So the wealthy are more likely to abuse. I think it's echoing. I am not sure why.
El Fishy, can you mute yourself for a second? Yeah, thank you. All right, so I think what Trovel is saying is that if education is free, then it's equal opportunity for the wealthy and for the rich, but the wealthy are going to abuse the system. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Basically, they will have the more power.
They have more power. Okay, what do you guys think about that?
Okay. I mean, if they're not going to respond, is it possible for me to respond?
Yeah.
Well, let's allow our panelists to respond first. Maybe
sure.
later, Konda, I can ask you to respond. Yeah.
Okay.
May I have a speech?
Yes, Mohammed, you are one of the panelists, so you can respond. The comment was to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm some kind of familiar with this kind of article. I know when the education become free, the rich people, the college have a capacity for accept or have a students in there. So they should test the students, and the better one should be chosen, and that is a fact. But the rich people have more tools to pass the exams. For example, private teachers, more book, more stuff, and therefore, and because of that, they are most likely to accept in the college, and the poor people are left behind, and that is a fact of that. But in the short period of time, this has happened, I'm pretty sure. But in the long term, the rich people should move to the private college because they want or they need the better level or higher level of education, which cannot continue or financed by the government money or the people's taxes. So in the long term, the poor people can have access to the free college, while the rich people move on to the private college as a private school like now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that comment. If there are no other comments, I'll move on to Kim Jong-un. Oh, sorry, El Fishy. Yes, you.
Can I respond?
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Well, I think that depends a lot of the country because, for example, in Spain, you got that many public institutions that is really very like a little bit low cost. Go to a private one because that they have like a monopoly that the private institutions need to lower the prices. So but you're gonna have a lot of problems with that because, for example, some public institutions need to have certain amount of students every year, or they're gonna get cut of their who's the budget. So they're gonna accept people who are not really prepared for that the university just because they don't want to get their budget cut by the government. So yeah, I think that depends a lot of the countries. Some countries could have public and private institutions, and they both could be competitive in a good way and not just be a monopoly. But yeah, that's my point. But I say like the last thing that university it's a privilege, and I think you should pay for that privilege.
Thank you so much. Okay, that was great. Now we're going to move on to Kim Jong-un, who has a comment or a question. So all the way from, I don't know where you're connecting from, but you need to be unmuted. So here we go. Kim, you're on. You can ask a question or make a comment.
Yeah, so it's a comment.
Okay.
This is so I was listening and about the oh, it's got blank. The what's it called? The thing about personal like teachers and things, right? And I kind of wanted like personal. The wealthy would like have things like that, you know, teachers, leaders, things. So I was thinking, I want to make a comment that it certainly does assume like a lot that, because in the public eye, if something like a major law like this has been passed that college would, or well, like college and university would be free, that's like saying that it won't inspire people. Now, if we're going by like this definition, of course, like if it's just this, nothing else, then like it makes sense. But with the general consensus with what people like know, if a law is passed that promotes something, and it's been proven before, if a law is passed that like proves something like education should be free, it promotes things like as I said, tutors and private teachers to more get into it and like start promoting free education. That's something I kind of just like wanted to say.
Thank you so much for that comment. Thank you, Kim. Does anyone want to respond to that?
I don't really understand what he's saying.
Yes. Yes. Well. Okay. Well, then in that case, let's move on. Thank you so much. And next is going to be Banana. Banana, you're on. A question or a comment? The floor is yours.
Well, I'd like to say my comment and my thoughts. And all I can say is the point Afifa made earlier grabbed my attention because it was so on point. Medicine is one of the major fields that the world needs. And of course, you cannot enter it without going to college. And pursuing it is also expensive, leading to the prevention of some unfortunate, aspiring, yet wise and skilled medical professionals from following their dreams. So, in my opinion and in my conclusion, if making university tuition free is impossible to all, perhaps every university in the world should be able to make it available to some really eager students who deserve it by letting them undergo some series of tests and interviews that prove that they are worthy of it. And that's gonna be all, and thank you for listening.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Banana, for that comment. Would anyone like to respond? I believe this is our last speaker. Last question and comment from the audience. Would any of the panelists like to respond to this comment?
Oh, I'm good. But some people just left, like FIFA.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. They left. Well, maybe that's a sign we are dragging on too long. Well, in that case, well, let me first of all thank so much. Thank our panelists so much. So we had Mohammed, Reza, and Alifa were arguing for the yes side. Tuition should be free, and we had El Fishy and Yokai arguing against it. So once again, let's give them a big round of applause. You guys did awesome. I think it was a great...
for me.
Yes, because you're the only one left. No, Mohammed is still there. And I also want to thank all of you, in the audience for being a part of this amazing debate. Now, if you like what you heard, if you like what you saw, let me know if this is something you want to see every week. Every Friday, I teach these lessons here 3 times a week. Maybe some of them could be a debate. It's not just debate. It's not one thing we're doing. But if you like it, let me know. And how did they do, guys? How did they do? Let us know in the comments. So if you want, what I'd like you to do is just point you to the website with the comments. Just a second.
Send the link.
Send the link, yes. Can someone send the link in the chat to my website, which is English Palette? And basically in the comments, you can let us know which side you think won. Maybe you can give us your sense of how the debate went. Okay, and of course, if you missed this debate, we are online. It's all recorded for your convenience. It's on YouTube and on Twitch TV/English Spot. Well, everyone, I think this brings us to a close today. Thank you so much for being here, and I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, because after all, it's Friday. It's Friday, guys. It's Friday.
Thanks,
so, and thank you everyone for being a great sport. And wow, the tuition issue, an important one. Also, if you have suggestions for other discussion topics, just message me, or you can also post it in the classes chat. Make sure you tag me, otherwise the message might get lost. So I would be looking forward. I will look forward to your feedback. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time when we return on English Palette. Thank you, guys. See you. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everybody. That was wonderful.
Yes.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Bye.
Awesome. Good job, guys.